meditation, this thought came to my mind that we have to take it to the next step. And why can't we just continue to chant the Hanuman Chalisa? We can definitely do that. But why we should take it to the next step, I want to explain with the example in many scriptures it is given, as even in Bhagavad Gita. There are four kinds of devotees, or four kinds of seekers. One is the Artha, the person who is helpless, suffering, and that's why seeks God. Second is the Artharthi. Sorry, I have to admit somebody here. Artharthi it is a person who seeks God for selfish interests. The third is called a Jigyasu. Just for the sake of knowing. You don't want to practice anything. You want to know everything under the sun, all the spirit, metaphysics, every subject you want to know. You will not spend a minute practicing anything. And the third one is the Jnani. Now the Artha is what most people do. We sit there, we think God and everything is out there, and we are in trouble. Only then we remember to invoke. So the power is outside us. We are desperate, and in a moment of SOS, it's a 911 call. The Artharthi becomes a person who is like a give and take. It's a little bit selfish. The Artha state, which is like you are a robber. You go into somebody's house, they have something, you take everything and you run away. There is nothing you give, you just take. Artharthi state is you grow, your awareness grows a little bit, and there is a give and take, a transaction. I will read so many Hanuman Chalisa if I can get a job, if I can get my this, that, house, children, whatever it is, a good spouse, this, that is a transactional way of connecting with the spirit. Then we have the Jigyasu, who doesn't need, there's an ego. I just want to know about everything. That's why I say, this constant writing down, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to even take one practice and practice it? Finally is the Jnani, who becomes one with the God. He's not asking, that seeker, that devotee is not asking anything. He or she becomes that. We come in touch with or contact our inner self. And this is the entire idea of the Hanuman Chalisa, which is devotion to the self-knowledge. The devotion part of it is the Hanuman energy inside us, and self-knowledge is the Ram inside us. We have to connect these two things. We have to take our devotion to connect with our higher self. You can take this to another level of understanding. It is like, what should I say? The Varna Ashram, the caste system. The Artha state, where you just want. Something terrible is happening. Hey, Hanuman, do help me. That is the Shudra state. All you do is want, help me. Then when your awareness rises, you go to the Vaishya state. What you do? You say, okay, I'm going to do this Vrat, give so much money to this temple, to feed so many people, whatever it is, a transaction. Then your awareness rises to the Kshatriya stage, where you don't want anything. You just want to do for others. I'm doing this puja for my friend. I'm doing this puja for my country, but me and I'm doing it. And that ego is very strong. That's the Kshatriya stage. And then you go to the Brahmin stage. Now I want you to understand, most people think this is hereditary. These are not hereditary. These are states of mind and stages of awareness. And in the Brahmin stage, there are three stages. Again, first you are a Dvija, you're a Jigyasu, you want to learn. Then you go to the state of becoming a Vipra. You have learned, but what are you going to do about it? And finally, you become a Brahmin, where you have come in contact with that experience, that Ram inside you. So then this Brahmin state, when you finally become a Brahmin, when you've contacted that Ram inside you, you realize you've been hearing this Tat Tvamasi Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. I am the Brahman. So in that case, what do we have to do? We have to take our practice. In the beginning, when we do puja, when we do chanting, when we do anything, we are seeking God outside. We are here and God is there, or that power is there, and we are trying to get something. The second stage, which is what we are trying to do right now, this is just trial, not I'm saying that we'll become like that, is to see the God inside us. Use the Hanuman qualities in us to find the Ram inside us. Only when we can see the God inside us, experience the God inside us, you go to the next stage, from Aham Brahmasmi to Sarvam Khalvida Brahma. Mane, the God is in everybody. We try to understand, think that we are going to see God in everybody first. It will not happen. Only what you experience inside yourself, you can see it in another person. So this stage is going from the Shudra and stage. We are already in the Vaishya state where we are transacting with the universe and God. We give you this, you give me that. We are also, some of us are in the Kshatriya stage where like, we don't want anything. I'm praying for you. I am praying for you. Now we are trying to become a Dvija. Dvija is that one who wears, the sign of a Brahmin is you put that thread to tell you that, because we are all born into unconsciousness. We didn't have a choice, we think. Here you choose to go on a spiritual journey. So you're going to choose to go and find self-knowledge. That is the stage we are trying to do by understanding, not just by rote. How many times can we read the Hanuman Chalisa without understanding what they're saying? And this Hanuman Chalisa, in very simple language, all the powerful notions from the Upanishads, from the Bhagavad Gita is given here in very, very simple terms. But then if you are in the Shudra state, you will not even try to find out. We will just keep repeating it. So what is the Hanuman quality? Hanuman is that true bhakta. When we become like Hanuman, we will have 3 signs. First is we become Siddha. Siddha is very different from Siddhi. Siddhi is the process of getting mastery over something. Siddha is when you become a master over what? Over your mind and body. Then it is Amrita, which is immortality. We keep talking about Amrita, Amrita, Amrita. There are 2 elixirs in our scriptures. One is Sanjivani, one is Amrita. Sanjivani, the Asuras have, our lower self, our lower being, our negative thoughts, our Asuric tendencies, they have control over Sanjivani. You keep reviving the body. Because when we say immortality, when we are asking for moksha, the body cannot become immortal. Only your mind, your vasanas, your thought process, your intellect can become immortal. And it goes from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. So you have to be a Siddha, mastery over your mind and body. Amrita, immortal. And then that is why Hanuman is called Chiranjeevi, because he goes in every yuga. And there are references to it in the Dohas. We will discuss that at length when we reach there. And the final one is Tripti. These 3 things we must have. One is Siddha, control over, mastery over ourselves. Amrita, which is eternal, immortal, which is, it is not getting this thing, wanting to perpetuate our body, but to perpetuate our mind in the highest form. And finally is Tripti, total confinement, because you're not looking at something outside to give it to you. Only a person who is a tripti, that is full contentment, can give you something. Only a Siddha can give you Siddhi. That Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi ke data. If you have no control over yourself, you cannot give anybody a boon. Only when you do not want anything can you grant a boon. So that desire to, those are the high ideals. We will not reach it today, tomorrow, or maybe in this lifetime, but at least you try striving towards it. And this is one example I'll give you, is like a candy dispenser. In the Artha state, Shudra state, you look at the candy like a baby and you want, but you can't get the candy. So you're looking at somebody to give you that candy. Then you go to the Vaishya or the Kshatriya stage where you pay the money and the candy drops out. So transactional. Then you go to the Brahmin state where you create your own candy box. You know how to put the candy in, how to take the candy out. You don't need anybody. There is no desperation, no lack, no fear, no nothing. So this is the process. Why we have to go from just chanting Hanuman Chalisa for sorry, I get so carried away with these discussions that I forget to admit people. So there is no craving inside us. So what is this Hanuman quality that we are trying to develop, to cultivate? Hanuman has certain names, and in this, the whole thing started in my mind because I started realizing that in different dohas they use different names. Why can't they say Hanuman throughout? Why they use Hanuman sometimes, Pavanaputra sometimes, Vayuputra sometimes, Anjaniputra sometimes? Because they have deep significance. So Hanuman energy or archetype stands for a few things. One is the first one. If nothing else, if you can remember this, Hanuman, I used to think it was Man Kahan, Hanuman, Man Kahan. The first and foremost is to conquer your pride. Man is pride. That is where the journey starts. You are aware that your ego and your pride is coming between your limited self and your unlimited self. Hanuman, that is where you have to understand. Second one, he's known as Pavan Putra and Vayu Putra. Now, Pavan Putra, in many occult sciences, whether it is tarot or any, the elemental body, the 5 elements, element of air is associated with mental activities, with intellect, reason, thoughts, knowledge, these kind of things. It is related to air. So that is the Pavanaputra part of it. When we use in Hanuman Chalisa Pavanaputra, you know they are referring to your mind, not to your pride, to mind in general. Then there is Vayuputra. Vayu is not just air. Vayu is prana. Prana Shakti comes from Vayu. And we have 5 kinds of prana. When he's referred to as Vayuputra, you must understand you are being asked to bring awareness to and control over the Vayu thing. And Vayu is prana Shakti. There are 5. One is prana, the ability to receive information. Apana, the ability to eliminate and express information. Udana, the ability to digest information. Vayana, the ability to circulate that information throughout your body, mind, and intellect. And Samana, that information should be balanced. It should be in balance to help you. So whenever they're talking about Pavanaputra, he's talking about bring your attention to your mind. When you're talking about Vayuputra, we are talking about the Prana Shakti. It is even more subtle than the mind. Then we talk about Kapisha. He's also called Kapisha. What is Kapisha? Kapi is monkey. Isha is God. So becoming Lord over your monkey mind. Whenever they're talking about Kapisha, we have to realize that the monkey mind, that astira, that restless mind, fickle mind has to be harnessed. Not just pride. It is just, all over the place. Dissipating energy. How to bring it and harness it. And that is what they talk in yoga. Yoga, they say chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta is thought, vritti is fluctuation, nirodha is bringing it to cutting that fluctuation. So that is the Kapisha. Then he's also called Ramaduta. These are qualities we have to remember and we have to dwell upon it. Ramaduta is devotion to the self. And here I would like to remind you that in Bhagavad Gita, it is written something that you will, and I will, send this out to you later on, and I'm taping it. I will also share it later. Devotion, which is Hanumanji, we talked about it, to the self, which is Ramji. There is no knowledge of the self to the unsteady. Unsteady what? Unsteady mind. And to the unsteady, no meditation. And to the unmeditative, there is no peace. And to the peaceless, how can there be happiness? This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. So that is the whole purpose of Hanuman Chalisa, is what in Bhagavad Gita they say Stita Pragya. Stita is steady, Pragya is wisdom. And this between that unsteady monkey mind to Stita Pragya, we have to go through several things. We have to first understand that there has to be devotion, there has to be steadiness, there has to be meditation, and there has to be peace. And with peace comes happiness. So, okay. In a Chalisa, there are 3 parts. Most Chalisas have 3 parts. First part describes the person about whom we are doing the Chalisa. The second part describes their deeds. And the third part is the petition, what you're wanting. And we can take the whole thing and bring it to ourselves. The first part of the Chalisa we will use to see how it describes us, in what state we are in. The second state, we will see what we can do, or rather doing, what we have been doing or what we can do. And the third stage, actually what power you can do. We ourselves can give ourselves that power. But first of all, we'll have to go from where we are. So now I would like to, if you have a Hanuman Chalisa, you can keep it with you, or I have it written here, I will follow it. I wanted to discuss this from, for the next generation. If they don't have any guru, they don't have any God, they don't have anything, how to convince them that this is a formula for success? I'm assuming I don't have a personal guru. So when it says Sri Guru Charana, earlier I used to think which guru to invoke. I mean, there are many gurus, but I don't have a Diksha guru. So I will go from a point where there is no reference to religion. It is just to spirituality. So when we say that we'll go through the dohas right now, the Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja. Shri, I've always said, means prosperity. Prosperity means what? By now, anybody who's been attending this workshop should know that is hope. Prospera, towards hope. So prosperity is anytime you bring prosperity to a hope, to a thought, or to an activity, you are invoking Shri. And so with hope, Shri Guru. Now, Guru means the two words. Gu is darkness, ignorance. Ru is removing it. So with hope, I'm trying to remove the darkness inside me. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja. Charana is the feet. Saroja is lotus. What is lotus in the Eastern religion? Lotus signifies our spiritual growth. It starts from the mud and it becomes beautiful and pristine and clear on top. So we will have to start from the mud in our own life, the accumulated negative thoughts. And where does that mud stay? In our subconscious. So we have to start with our subconscious. With hope, we are trying to, every time you read, you have this thought that I am hoping to remove the darkness of my ignorance and become a lotus flower, rise towards the light. And how do you do that? Nija Mano Mukuru Sudhari, by cleaning the mirror of my mind. That is where the starting point is. This is your goal. This is your starting point. And how do you clean the mirror of your mind? Barano Raghubara Bimala Jasu, by talking about or by explaining the or rather singing praises of Raghubara Bimala. Bimala means no negativity, no dirt. You're talking about praising that archetype, because remember, Ram is within us, and there is a goal even in a world of celebrities, entertainment business and in the sports business. You want to be like Kobe Bryant, you want to be like Amitabh Bachchan, you want to be like somebody. So you have an image, an archetype, and that is the Raghubara that we are looking at, which has no mala, no dirt, no negativity. So we want, that is the goal that we are planning. Barano Raghubara Bimala Jasu, replacing it with our negative, limited idea of ourselves. We are replacing it with a perfect image. This is what we are trying to be. And here we're talking about Raghubara. Raghu clan is that where that lineage. We have two lineages in India. One is the Suryavanshi and one is the Chandravanshi. Ram belongs to Suryavanshi, but his mother Kaushalya came from the Chandravanshi. So in Suryavansh they have this Dasaratha. I talked about it recently in one of the videos. So we have to have control. What is that perfect image? What is that archetype we're trying to, imbibe or trying to grow towards? We should have perfect control over that Dasaratha. Dasaratha means our 5 Jnana Indriyas and 5 Karma Indriyas. And Kaushalya is having a skillful control over the Dasaratha. And we are Prince of Ayodhya. Ayodhya is where there is no duality, where there is no fight between the dualities. So this is the image that we are trying to go towards. Barano Raghuvara Bimala Jasu, Jo Dayaka Phalachari. What are the 4? When we do this spiritual journey, at the end of it, we must have a goal. What is the goal? There are the 4 goals: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma is sorting out the human condition. What is the human condition? Artha and Kama. Artha is your life purpose and money. Kama is desires. You have to constantly sort out this, your purpose and desires, ultimately hoping for moksha. So this is the whole goal. This is what we want to do. Now we want to say, Buddhi Hina Tanu Janike Sumire Pavana Kumara Balabuddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kalesa. Now when we say Buddhi Hina Tanu Janike, Buddhi, we all are very educated. We are very intelligent with lots of degrees. Why do we say Buddhi Hina? But the key is to be found in Tanu. Tanu is body. Body is the unconscious part of our mind. And that is our instinctual living. That is the animal part of our thing. The body, that part, that instinctual living doesn't have the buddhi. Buddhi means knowing the difference between right and wrong, viveka. So buddhi hina tanu janike. I know that I have an instinctual body that does not have buddhi. Sumiro pavana kumara. Now here, why of all the names it is chosen first with Pavana Kumara? Pavana is you have to want to change the mind. If the intention is not there, you cannot do anything. Start with the intention. We say, oh, we are not Mahatma Gandhi, we are not Bhagwan, we are not Ramji. Why? We want to be that. You're not that now doesn't mean your reality is not your reality. Your current reality is not your ultimate reality. So the intention should be that. You have to start with, why didn't they say Anjani Putra here? Why Pavana Putra? Because we are not starting with the body anymore. We know that our body doesn't have Viveka, Tanu, has Buddhi in a Tanu. So we are not invoking Anjani here, Anjani Putra. We are invoking our mind here, Pavana Putra. Buddhihina Tanu Janike, we have to go from the gross body to the subtle body. Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi. Why Bala Buddhi Vidya? Because these are three qualities. You need strength, you need information, and you need to know the difference between what is right and what is wrong. Because if it were only Bala, you would be like Bhima, like the Mahabharata. He's also a son of Pavanaputra, but he had only strength, no Buddhi and no Viveka. You can have Vidya, then you'll become like Ravana. Ravana was Vidyavan. He was a Brahmin. He had lot of Bala, he had lot of Vidya, but he did not have Buddhi. He did not know the difference between right and wrong. So you want Bala, you have to have Bala, you have to have Vidya, knowledge, and you have to have Buddhi to discriminate what is right, what is wrong. So you're asking for all three. Harahu Kalesha Vikara. So this is another goal, that every time you sit down to read Hanuman Chalisa, instead of reading 108 times or 18 times or 11 times, think of what you are trying to achieve, because that intention, that Pavana element you're getting to get you started. Harahu mane take away, remove Kalesha. There are many Kalesha. The most important Kalesha that you want to remove is ignorance. Then it is called Avidya, Asmita, Raga Dvesha, and Abhinivesha. Avidya is ignorance. Asmita is pride, ego. Then Raga Dvesha, craving and aversion. I want this, I don't want this. That is one that is holding you back from rising. Then you have Abhinivesha is your fear of death. So these are the kaleshas that you want to consciously, only if you bring it to your focus will you be able to work on it. And vikara, that which does not, which is not permanent, which is constantly changing. And what is that? What makes you change constantly? It is kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madda, matsarya. Kama is desire. Krodha, when you don't have what you get, you are angry. Lobha, moha, when you don't have something, you have lobha. When you have it, you have mada, pride. And moha, matsarya. Matsarya is jealousy, and mada is pride. So when you have it, you have pride. When you don't have it, you have jealousy. So these are the things you have to constantly remind yourself that you're working on these things. So Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kalesha Vikara. Jai Hanumana Jnana Guna Sagar. This I've told you many times, but please keep this in mind. Anytime the word Jai is used in Vishnu temple, outside a temple, there are always two characters standing guards, Jai and Vijay. Jai always refers to victory inside ourselves, our internal world, our mind and thoughts and body. When you say Vijay, so we don't say Jai Bhava, we say Vijay Bhava to others. But Jai is for ourselves. We have to control. Jai Hanumana. Now they have chosen Hanuman. Why? Man. You have to control your pride. Jai Hanumana. Jnana. The minute you are controlling your pride, you have access to tremendous knowledge and guna, virtues, like an ocean of it. But right now, because of your pride, you're not able to access that. Jai Hanumana Jnana Guna Sagara. Jai Kapisatihu Lok Ujagara. Why? Kapisha here. How do you control your pride? You can control your pride by controlling your monkey mind. Because a monkey mind is everywhere. You're not concentrated on your swadharma, what you want, what you are born for, what is your sole purpose. He has this, she's doing this, they have that, I can do that, unsteady mind. So then they are saying, get control over your unsteadiness, that the fickle mind, you have to harness your mind first. Jai Kapisa Tihu Loka Ujagara. So, Tihu Loka means three worlds. What are the three worlds? I have said this time and again. Your subconscious, which corresponds to your body, your conscious, which corresponds to your mind, and your superconscious, which corresponds to your intellect. So body is feeling, mind is emotion, intellect is thought. So only when you get control over your mind and your pride, you will be illuminating your three: body, mind, and intellect. That is the thing they're talking about here. It's important to see here that Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama. So the Anjani Putra Pavanasuta Nama. In this Doha, why they chose to write Ram Duta first and then Anjani Putra and Pavanasuta Nama? Because this tells you what is Ramaduta. When you are surrendered to, or when you are wedded to or devoted to Ram, which is that your true internal nature. So I've always said we are spiritual beings having a material experience. We are not material beings, physical beings trying to have a spiritual experience. That is why Ramaduta was written first. Ramaduta is our spiritual nature. We have to be devoted to our true nature. And then Anjani Putra. Anjani was a, Apsara, who was cursed and was born as a monkey. And Anjani Putra, she's the mother, so she represents our body. And Pavana Sutanama, air or Keshari is the Anjani and Keshari are Hanuman's actual in the world, in the physical material world, mother and father. So first we have to understand that first we have to claim our true spiritual nature, which is Ramaduta, devoted to self-knowledge or the true self. That is our spiritual nature, and then we are trying to have this physical material experience, which is Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. We are not Anjani and Pavani trying to have Ram experience. We are Ram trying to come down to the material world, having this experience. Okay, then Mahavira Vikrama Vajrangi. Now, what is for to us to have, to even experience Ram, to even experience, want to access that true self, our true identity, we need one thing most importantly. Of course, we have to control your mind, whatnot and whatnot. We need to be Veera. Veera means courage. And what courage we need? We need 5 kinds of courage. Mahavira Vikrama Vajrangi. First courage is Ranveer. We have the courage to fight for what you want. Not just, if you give in to that instinctual living, then you are not fighting for it. You have to fight to rise over your limited size. That is called a Ranveer. Then Dharmveer. You have to be able to have the courage to live up, to protect your dharma, what you believe in. Then you have to be Danveer. You must have the courage to give. Then you have to be Dayaveer. You must have the courage to forgive. And then you must be Tyagveer. You must have the courage to detach. You need these 5 kinds of courage. So it's a Mahavira. And only Veera would be fighting like a regular warrior. Mahavira is a spiritual warrior. So what are the 5 things we need? We need the ability to fight, Ranveer. The ability to stand up for our dharma, what you believe in. Then Danveer, the ability, the courage, not ability, the courage to give beyond. We give only little bit. We only forgive little bit. We only detach little bit. Courage means you're beyond your comfort zone. You have to be able to set these goals and push yourself every now and then. I think I can give this much, donate this much, give little bit more. I think I can forgive this much, forgive little bit more. I think I can detach this much, detach little bit more. So these are the Mahavira Vikrama Vajrangi. That makes you, Vajra is strong, and Vikram is to become, splendor and powerful and famous. So we have to Mahavira Vikrama Vajrangi. How do you get this courage? Kumati Nivara Sumatike Sangi. Mati means mind. So you have to constantly replace negative, limited thoughts with positive and expansive thoughts. When you say, I can't afford, I cannot forgive, I cannot detach, these are kumati, limiting thoughts. You have to instantly say, kumati nivara, you have to destroy that sumatike sangi. You have to invoke those courage, those 5 courage immediately by changing your thoughts. So, kumati nivara, sumatike sangi. Mati is mind. Okay. Kanchana Varana Viraja Suvesa. Kanchana is a golden. We are still describing all the things that we have to be. Kanchana is golden. There's a halo. When you see all the gods, and in any religion, they have a golden halo around them. When you have positive thoughts, and when you have, when you remove your negative limiting thoughts, you start having a halo around them. When you see very spiritual people, you get drawn to them. Why? They have that energy, that Kanchana Varana, which is, you can't see it, but you can feel it. You get drawn towards them. Kanchana Varana Viraja, splendor, Subesha. This is very powerful. I did a lot of research on the Subesha, and this is my current understanding. Suvesha means, in everywhere they wrote beautiful clothes. And think about it, Hanuman, who is a Vairagi, why would he wear beautiful clothes? He's not a prince or a king or anything. Suvesa is covering. Vesha is covering. And what do we cover ourselves with? Which are thoughts and actions. And you have to compare or contrast Suvesha with Durvasa. You know, in our Puranic tales, you hear every time somebody does something wrong, crosses the line, pride comes in or becomes mindless. You know, Durvasa comes and curses that person, comes to the earthly plane, and they suffer. It is not that there is a Durvasa out there. Durvasa is our covering, because the minute we lose that connection with our internal state of being, the minute our pride becomes better of us, the minute our words and thoughts are detached from that Ram Tattva, our internal Durvasa puts us back into the land of sensual pleasures and sorrow and suffering. So Suvesa, you have to constantly cover yourself with good thoughts and good deeds. And these are, the ultimate gold standard. We are not there yet, but that is the hope, and that is the North Star, and that is our constant. You have to look at that archetype, that we should not invoke the Durvasa inside us. We should be Suvesha, always clothed with righteous thoughts and good deeds and stuff like that. Good deeds and because when we cover our Suvesha, when the Durvasa gets invoked, what happens again? This clothing is called avarana in Buddhism also, Hinduism also. It is a covering. When your intellect, when your Ram Tattva gets covered, you have vikshepa, fluctuation. Then from fluctuation, you come down to the monkey mind, kapisha. You have to, return journey has to be kapisha. So this avarana is the covering, and vikshepa is the fluctuation. When our actual true self gets covered, we start behaving like a monkey. And then we say Kanchana Varana Vijaya Suvesha Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesa. Now, many times they describe all these different gods with different jewelry. I always used to think, why for Saraswati they used to say Kantha Vibhushita Kantha Vibhushita. What is that mantra? I'm forgetting. Anyway, saying that there is a pearl necklace on her neck.
Kundala Kanni or something.
Kantha Vibhushita.
That's what I understood.
Anyway, so they say that Saraswati has a pearl necklace. Why pearl necklace? And here, why we are talking about earrings? Why not pearl necklace for Hanuman? Because Hanuman, in olden times, the three higher varnas, whether it was Vaishya or Kshatriya and Brahmin, definitely Brahmins, they would always have a ceremony called when the Dvija, before they became Dvija, they decided to go on a journey of consciousness, they would pierce the ear, Karna Veda. And even today, in that these days in Stanford, they have done research to find out that super brain yoga, where they hold the ears, and the South Indians do this, because a lot of information, wisdom is stored in acupressure points. If you go to Chinese also, the ears are very powerful acupressure points. So then it is saying that we have to invoke our karna. We have to become a dvija, go consciously intentional. And kunchita kesa. Kunchita means curly. Now this also means that they are asking us to do three things that our scriptures tell us. To learn anything, to become that, you need Shravana, you need Manana, and you need Nididhyasana. Shravana is listening. We are listening. Manana is what we are doing right now. Not just listening, not hearing Hanuman Chalisa, trying to understand what it is telling us to do. That is called Manana. And that is signifies the kunchita kesa. It's not just going into your head and out. It is there, and you are dwelling and mulling over it and thinking this way, that way. What does it mean? How can I do it? That is the manana, the introspection. And nididhyasanam is when you go actually practice it, do the thing that you have understood from this. So it is asking us to hear, to introspect and to practice. So the reference to the karna is to hear. The reference to the curly hair is to go over it, think, what was that meaning? What am I asked to do? What am I asked to become? And then Nididhyasana is practice it. Hatha Vajra or Dhwaja Viraje, Kanthe Munjo Janeo Saje. There are two opposite images here. The first is the image of a Kshatriya. Hatha Vajra, he's holding that gada that has been fortified by Indra. In Dhwaja, he's holding a flag with the name Sri Ram. Now, only a Kshatriya will hold a weapon and a flag. A flag signifies the value you stand for. And Dhwaja, Vajra is to fight for that value. But that is just a regular warrior. When you go to the next one of that doha, Kandhe Munjo Janeo Saje. This is the sign of a Brahmin. Munjo, when you think of a Brahmin, the first thing that comes to your mind is the Janeo. So you are being asked to be a spiritual warrior, not just a warrior. The first one is a warrior. Hatha Vajra or Dhwaja Viraje. Warrior is what? Courage. We talked about those 5 courage. And second one is Kandhe Munjo Janeo Saje. Janeo is that thread. Kandhe is the shoulder, and it Shobha. It is looking beautiful thing. So it is your responsibility to acquire spiritual knowledge and self-control. A Brahmin, that Dvija, means that you consciously start on the journey of a spiritual journey, trying to get self-knowledge and self-control. So this is the formula for a spiritual warrior, not just because only warrior would be Ravana and Bhima. They don't have that Kandhe Munjo, only this one. Hanumanji has it. Shankara Shuvani Keshari Nandana Teja Pratapa Mahajaga Vandana. So if you know the story of how Hanuman was born, this Anjani did a lot of that Apsara who was cursed by Durvasa by somebody like that to come down to earth and become a monkey. She did a lot of tapasya to Lord Shiva, and this is telling us that to rise, we have to do tapasya. We have to have that intention. We have to have a goal, and we have to work towards it. So she was born as a monkey, and she did a lot of tapasya to Lord Shiva and saying, I want a son like you. And he says, look, I cannot give you a son like me. I will be your son. So it's cutting a long story short, Pavana, the air element, brought the essence of Shiva into Kesari. Kesari is the monkey king that Anjani was married to. So what we have to take away from this is Hanuman has one mother and 3 fathers. One mother is Anjani. Anjani is, we only have one body, but we have 3 minds. We have a subconscious mind, we have a conscious mind, and we have a superconscious mind. Subconscious mind is Keshari, monkey. Conscious mind is Pavana, just mind. Superconscious mind is Shiva, which is the ultimate. So Anjani, here we have said that Shankara Shuvani Keshari Nandana. You have 3 fathers, 3 minds. Because and Anjani is one mother. We have one body with 3 minds. And when we understand that and try to connect with that super mind, super conscious Shiva element in us, Teja Pratapa Mahajaga Vandana. So here they're saying that the minute you are become or try to become like that Shiva, you try to connect and invoke your superconscious, your Teja, your brilliance, Teja Pratapa will be known throughout the world. But forget about the world. We are working on ourselves. Teja Pratapa Mahajaga Vandana. Jaga is, we're talking about our own body. Our own 3 worlds will be illumined because Shiva is the exact opposite of Keshari. Keshari is the monkey mind. Shiva is the most controlled mind. So we have to go from Keshari mind to Shiva mind. In between is the Pavana mind. The little bit better than monkey mind, but not like Shiva mind yet. And Shankara Shubhani Keshari Nandana, Teja Pratapa Mahajaga Vandana. And Tej also talks about penance, because Anjani did a lot. You just don't get a mind like Shiva. You have to prepare yourself, like Swami Tejavananda was describing. A dry wood is so prepared, the minute you light it, it catches fire. But if a wood is soaked in water, it's very difficult to catch fire. So you have to prepare. What we are doing now, we are preparing ourselves to receive that Shiva blessing or Shiva-like mind. So that preparation is required, and for that you have to do tapas, tej. Tapas brings two things to mind. One is fire. Fire means burning away our impurities, our jealousies, the vrittis we talked about, the kleshas and the vikaras, and light. You burn away the negative qualities and you illumine with the knowledge of wisdom. So two things you have to do. Constantly you're fighting your negative and lower tendencies, and then simultaneously you are reading the scriptures. You are trying to understand higher and higher mental concepts and intellect and viveka. So these two processes has to happen at the same time, fire and light. That is tejas. That's what we, and this is like the similar to the Sahana Bhavatu mantra, because what is the Sahana Bhavatu? First, we want protection, Sahana Avatu. Then that is what they're saying. Hatha Vajra Dhwaja Viraja. We are ready to protect. Then we are saying, nourish us. Nourish us with what? With that Dvija. Nourish us with the knowledge that will make us ready to receive that Shiva. And then you're saying, Teja. Even in Sahana Bhavatu, first we have maybe both be protected, maybe both be nourished, maybe both put our best effort, which is what we are doing, and then may our Teja become illumined everywhere. This is exactly what we are saying, that you will protect your values, your spiritual values. You will prepare yourself by tapasya, by whatever form, to receive that. And this boils down to reception, retention, reception, retention, and recollection. You receive the knowledge. You have to prepare yourself to receive knowledge. You have to remember that knowledge. Just receiving it doesn't matter. And then you have to recollect at the right time. When you are doing Kumati, you have to recollect, no, this is Kumati. I have to go towards Sumati. Good knowledge. So that is the meaning of this Shankara Shivani K. Srinandara. If you are trying to be like Shiva, like this thing, that tapasya will also be like, it has to be like that. Vidyavana Guniyati Chatura Rama Kaja Karibeku Atura. So they're talking here, what he is trying to say, Tulsidas Ji, is Vidyavan, we have the knowledge and we have the virtue, but you have to be chatura. We have to be very clever about using that. Just having that knowledge and doing nothing with it is not going to take us there. And what is the chatura thing? Because when Hanumanji, he jumped the ocean with Ram's ring in his mouth to go to Lanka, he had to go through 3 tests. And these are the tests of any spiritual aspirant. The first test, one of the mountains or the island arose and say, oh, it's such a long journey, so difficult, come have some fruit, rest and take a bath. This constantly, we all know that when we want to do something, we feel lazy, we want to get distracted, we want to do something else. Always that distraction comes in. You have to be mindful of that. Second one is ego will come in. And that was the second test Hanumanji had to go through. There was an Asura who was invisible and could pull somebody down by their shadow. So that is our ego. We are not even, it's so subtle. You can't see your ego, but it will come. It will come and it will pull you down. When you feel pulled down, you know your ego is at play. That is the second test. And finally, the third, whoever comes out of I forget that story, anyway, it will distract us. The bad thoughts that come, you have to immediately nip it in the bud right there and then. So 3 tests is, you must not be distracted, be focused on your goal, beware of the ego, beware of the ego, beware of the ego. And finally, negative thoughts, the minute and limiting thoughts you see, instantaneously, no tomorrow, later, I am not a Mahatma, I am not Ram, I am not Hanuman, none of that, no. To the best of my ability, cut, right there. That is being clever about using this information, your devotion to her. Rama Kaja Karibeku Atura. And we can do these things only if you are passionate about serving your that Ram, that self-knowledge too. You must be that eager to get that self-knowledge. Otherwise, you will be very easily distracted and you will do nothing about your pride. And later on, we'll talk about this, how you need Rama Kaja Karibeku Atura requires 2 things. Buddhi, Viveka, what to do, what not to do, and Shraddha. devotion, which is Hanuman quality, which is what we are trying to invoke and develop and inculcate. And no matter where we start, we can only go up. The lower we are, the better it is, because we can only go up. So buddhi and shraddha are necessary to cross those three, to pass those three tests. And we'll talk about the Varaha avatar, the Panchamukhi, why, how powerful that is. In the end, I will discuss that. Prabhu Charitra Suniveko Rasya, Rama Lakhana Sita Manavasya. So the same thing, Prabhu Charitra Sunyako Rasya, because that is the archetype. Constantly, what is it that you are going towards? You have to have a blueprint. You have to have an archetype. You have to have an image. That is the Prabhu Charitra, the Maryada Purushottam. Constantly asking yourself, how would Ram have behaved under these circumstances? Because he is that changeless, eternal, powerful, infinite energy. He could do everything because he was happy with himself. That smile of Ram, you have to constantly think, because he was at peace and he was happy. Our goal is that, to be control our unsteady mind so that we get into a meditative state, so that we are peaceful, so that we can access our happiness, internal happiness. And that Maryada Purushottam thought is very creative, right? So we can use our thought. Remember, what we think, we become. What we feel, we attract. And what we visualize, we create. So this is it. You are taking this ideal. You are constantly thinking about that ideal. You are feeling that devotion for that ideal. I want to be like that. I want to be like this sports person or this actor. So similarly, I want to be that Ram Tattva. I want to feel that, experience that. And you visualize it. These are the three things you have: your mind and your feelings and your ability to visualize. So Prabhu Charitra Suniveko Rasya, Rama Lakhana Sita Manavasya. And this ideal is for Ram, Lakhan and Sita. Sita represents your body, Lakshman represents your awareness, your superior mind, and Ram is your internal, beyond the mind, is that consciousness that is eternal and infinite and powerful. So all three, your body, mind and intellect, you are trying to hold to that ideal. This is where it all started for me this time, a month ago. When I was reading in this place, I tripped and I said, wait a minute. Sukshma Rupadhari Sihaying Dikhava. Actually, this and the next one also. Sukshma Rupadhari Sihaying Dikhava, Bikata Rupadhari Lanka Jarava. Sukshma, you need to be, I was thinking, why Hanuman had to be a Sukshma Rupa? Why he couldn't go in as a big, huge Hanuman to Sita? Somewhere it said she'll be afraid. She's not a mere lady. She's a Kshatriya woman, Janaka's daughter. You think she's not afraid of Ravana and she'll be afraid of Hanuman? No, that was not why. Sukshma meaning you have to, the breath control, prana and mind are very, very subtle things. To be able to reach, your body, you have to, your gross body, you have to go through your subtle body, your prana and your mind. You have to use that to go and protect your physical body. So Sukshma Rupadhari. And also another meaning is that hope always comes in tiny ray of hope. Anytime you're on a spiritual journey or any journey, nobody comes and, when life is difficult, suddenly overnight things don't change. But you must be ever vigilant and careful about that tiny ray of hope. Why did this happen? That's what they say when you see a lucky penny. That penny doesn't make you a millionaire or billionaire, but I'm attracting money. That mindset changes. Immediately your mind changes, I'm attracting wealth. We're not talking about the dollar amount, but that's the mindset, Sukshma Rupa, ray of hope. Hope always comes in a crack, but you have to grab that hope and use it to catapult yourself out of this, suffering. But Bikata Rupadhari Lankajara, when you are dealing with your negative qualities, you can't take a Sukshma Rupa. You have to be merciless. Wherever you see your fear, anger, jealousy, mercilessly, not like, let me think about it, maybe it is justified. Oh, I can't. No. Immediately say cancel. I will, that Kumati, this is Kumati, I am invoking Durvasa. So when you see Bikata Rupadhari Lanka Jarava, Lanka is our subconscious because it was subterranean in the south. This story is carefully crafted. That golden city, this is an illusory city in our subconscious. We have to break that. So Sukshma Rupadhari Sihaying Dikhava, Bikata Rupadhari Lanka Jarava. My goodness, we are at 9 and it's almost an hour. Okay, I have to really rush through this. If you have questions, we'll have to take it afterwards. Bhima Rupadhari Asura Savare, Ramachandra ke Kaja Savare. Same thing. You have to take Bhima's Rupa. Bhima was very powerful to Asuric tendencies. Asuric tendencies are negative, lower tendencies, out of control desires are Asuras. You look at Asuras, they're constantly eating and they always take other people's wives and they take other people's kingdom. These are uncontrolled desires. So Asuric tendencies, you have to, like Bhima, you have to completely finish them, nip it at the bud. When you do that, when you are able to fight your Asuric tendencies, then what happens? You are serving Ramachandra. Now, Ramachandra is, the name Ram comes from the Raghuvangsha. That is your son. And the Chandra, because Kaushalya, his mother, came from the Chandravanshi. Chandra represents your emotions and Ram represents your thought, your intellect. So when you are able to destroy your Asuric tendency, you serve both your intellect and your emotions. Ramachandra ke kaan savare. Laya Sanjivana Lakhana Jiaye, Sri Raghuvira Harasuralai. Now, Sanjivani, like I said in the beginning, there are two elixirs, Sanjivani and Amrita. The Asuras have Sanjivani and the Devatas have Amrita. Why? Because Sanjivani just keeps reviving the body, the lower self, the lower tendencies. It does not make you immortal. That is why that Samudra Manthan, they all wanted the Amrita. Amrita is the one, the immortality that takes you, makes you timeless, unlimited, infinite, and timeless. So, Laya Sajivana Lakhana Jiya. So when Lakhana, how did he almost died? Because Meghnath, Indrajit, Ravan's son, shot an arrow and it hit him and he was unconscious. He almost died. What they're trying to say is Lakshman stands for dispassion and Lakshman stands for dispassion and Meghnath, Indrajit, stands for complete attachment. So when you become unconscious with attachment, when your awareness is not working anymore, that time you have to first of all revive your awareness in this world, not in the other world. In this world you revive yourself with that Sanjivani. But the most important thing is what is that? Laya Sajivana Lakhana Jiaye, Sri Raghupati, what is it? Sri Raghuvira Harasuralai. Of course, this is very important now. Raghupati ki nahi bahut badhai, tuma mama priya bharate samabhai. I found this extremely interesting that Lakshmana is almost dead. Hanuman brings Lakshman back to life and he's saying, you are as dear to me as Bharata. Why not as dear to me as Lakshman? Why Bharat? Because just like Lakshman stands for your awareness, Bharata stands for your ability to get mastery over your lower chakras, your Muladhara, your Swadhisthana, and your Manipura. What are the powers of those three chakras? Ease, joy, and glory, money, sex, and power. And Bharat represents that. Ease, joy, glory, money, sex, and power. So for the only time in Hanuman, this thing, Ram is saying that not only Lakshman is important to me, Lakshman is that awareness, which is for the upper chakra, Satchitananda, but even Bharat is very important. Our material and physical body, our ease, our joy, our this thing is just as important. So he says, Tuma mama priya bharata hi samabhai. He didn't say as Lakshman. So the message should take away is our lower needs of the lower chakras are just as important, but we have to have Bharat-like control over them, because Bharat never was tempted by the power and money and name and fame, because his mother wanted it for him, but he didn't want it. That is the goal we should have to live. If you have to live in your lower chakras, then live like Bharata. Then it comes Sahasa Vadana Tumharo Jasa Gave. Tuma mama priya bharate sa. Yeah, Sahasa Vadana Tumharo Jasa Gave, Asakai Shripati Kantha Lagave. So Sahasa Vadana here refers to the Anantanaga Seshanaga, which is that on which Vishnu is sleeping. It has 1,000 hoods, 1,000 heads, and 1,000 mouths. And snake in every religion, every spirituality, anywhere you say, it represents desire, insatiable desire. And Vishnu sleeping on Seshanaga means he has controlled his desires. The desires serve him. He doesn't serve desires. Likewise, abundance serves Vishnu. Vishnu doesn't serve abundance. Lakshmi is not a woman. Lakshmi stands for abundance. Likewise, desires are completely controlled by two people, Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva has it at his neck and Vishnu sleeps on the snake. So here it's saying, Sahasa Vadana Tumharo Jasa Gave. The minute you control your tendencies, your lower, what is this? Yeah. So the minute you control your desires, who will start, the desires themselves will come and serve you. You don't have to serve your desires, run after your desires anymore. They will be at your bid and call. Sahasa Vadana Tumhara Jasa Gave, Asa Kahi Shripati Kantha Lagave. Saying this, now here we are saying Shripati. Why Shripati? Because Shri stands for abundance. Abundance is for the lower chakras. In the top chakras, you don't need abundance. That is Satchidananda. That is different. So the Lord of abundance, Asakai Shripati Kantha Lagave. Kantha is throat. Throat means Vishuddhi chakra. Now we have moved on from the bottom three chakras where it is ease, joy and glory, and we are moving on to Hanuman is the devotion, which is our Anahata chakra. We are now moving on to the Vishuddhi chakra. Only when you control your desire for money, sex and power will you be allowed to operate from your Vishuddhi chakra. Asakai Shripati Kantha Lagave. Sanakadika Brahmadi. And how do you know he's talking about Vishuddhi chakra even though he's talking about Kantha? Because look at the names of the people who are going to sing your praises or which energies you can actually control and invoke. Sanakadika Brahmadi Munisha Narada Sharada Sahita Isha. Why this of 33 crore gods? You're not talking about anybody. Why this particular set of luminaries, munis, rishis? Because these people are not responsible for the lower chakras. Now your journey has gone. When you have control like Bharata, the bottom three chakras, you have earned the right to move on the Vishuddhi, Agya and Sahasrara. Sanak Adi, that the 5 sons of mental sons of Brahma, they refused to be involved in the creative process. They just wanted to do a tapasya on Shiva. So that is why they're talking. And Brahma is the creative force with Saraswati. And Narada, he is constantly singing praises of Vishnu. Sharada is Saraswati. Saraswati is the presiding deity of Vishuddhi chakra. Narada, Sharada, Sahit, Ahisa. Ahisa is what? Ahi is snake. Isha is Lord. Who is the Lord of snake? Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva is controlling the snake at his Vishuddhi and Vishnu is controlling the snake by sleeping on it. So you have now earned the right to invoke and operate from your Vishuddhi chakra. Yama Kubera Digapala Jahate Kavi Kovida Kahisake Kante. Now you are going to the Agya chakra because Yama and Yama Kubera. Yama is the fear of death and Kubera is the fear of lack because he has all the wealth, right? So it's the antidote to lack and antidote to fear of death. They will also be in your control. When your energy has risen to these levels, Yama, Kubera, Digapala. Digapala is all the 8 directions, cardinal and ordinal direction. Let's not go there. Kavi Kovida Kahi Sake Kant. Why I'm talking about Agya Chakra? First of all, we are seeing dualities. Yama is the opposite of Kubera. And Kavi Kovida. Kavi is your creative, poets, creative and intuitive capacity. Kovid is an intellectual, like a scientist, you're logical, analytical. So from your Vishuddhi, now you have moved on to your Agya Chakra. Because these 2 pairs of opposites are singing your praises. What do you mean by singing your praises? Meaning you are in control of that. Kavi Kovida Kahi Sake Kante. Yama Kubera Digapala Jante Kavi Kovida Kahi Sake. Tumo Pakara Sugriva Ikina Rama Milaya Rajpata Dina. Sugriva is your victim self. You know what happened to Sugriva, right? He was banished from his kingdom. He was afraid of his life. He didn't have the joy of his wife and he didn't have the power of his kingdom. What does that tell you? The victim mentality. And how did Sugriva overcame his victim mentality? By coming in touch with Rama, Rajpata Dina. And who brought him to Rama? Hanuman. Who is Hanuman? Breath control, mind, harnessing the mind. Once you are able to control your prana and harness your mind, you can get out of the victim state and get back your kingdom of heaven. Tumharo mantra Vibhishana mana Lankeshwara bhai sab jag jana. What does Vibhishana stand for? Vibhishana lived in Lanka, in your subconscious. It's one good thought, but a weak thought. You know, he couldn't do anything with it. And compare Vibhishana, you'll understand Vibhishana when you compare him with Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna was a thought that was completely sleeping. So we have 2 kinds of thought, one tamasic thought and a rajasic thought. Sattvic thought also, but a weak thought. We think, oh, you know, we want to be good, but we can't do. Our circumstance is such, Lanka and Ravana and I can't do anything. But tumharo mantra Vibhishana mana. You have to also believe in that mantra of Hanumanji, that aspire for Ram Tattva. You can get out of also that weak thought of good, the good thought that is weak. You can overcome that if you start invoking, harnessing your mind and bringing breath awareness. You can also get out of that Lanka and escape from that. Whereas Kumbhakarna couldn't, because you're not even aware. Denial. Vibhishana was not in denial, just felt weak. So we have to understand that there are some thoughts in our subconscious. We want to be good, but it doesn't have enough strength. How do you strengthen those thoughts? Breath awareness, mind control. Yuga Sahasra Jojana Parabhanu. This was the one that got me really excited. Yuga Sahasra Jojana Parabhanu Lilyotahi Madhuraphala Janu. Now, Yuga Sahasraman, many millions of years ago, we can say many lifetimes ago, Hanuman, when he was a child, he crossed millions of miles to eat the sun. And I thought about it. When you look at the sun, why did he eat it? He could have thought of it as a ball and played with it. He could have done anything, but he put it in the mouth and ate it. That means he swallowed the sun. What does swallowing the sun signify? Bringing darkness to yourself. That is why he fell down. And then Indra and everybody came and they cursed him. And finally that Vayuputra had to come and persuade them to give Hanuman all his strength back. But on one condition, the Devatas said, somebody has to remind him, otherwise it is, he won't be able to access those powers. Likewise with us, we have that power, but we have forgotten. Somebody has to remind us of those powers that we have. So many years back, in early childhood or many lifetimes back, we have swallowed our own sun. We don't know our power. We are chosen to live in darkness and ignorance because we have swallowed it. It also refers to what Madhuraphala. Where is it? Yuga Sahasra Jojana Parabhanu Lilyotai Madhuraphala Janu. Madhuraphala is like in Katham Upanishad, that is there. The difference between Prayash and Shreyash. Prayash is the easy thing, the enjoyable thing, the sweet things in life, and Shreyas are the difficult things, are the ones that are difficult but will give us permanent happiness. But Prayas is something that we immediate gratification. So when we eat something, whatever you put into your mouth by way of words, that is what's going to come out. So if you swallow your knowledge and your wisdom, then you will live in ignorance. Yuga Sahasra Jojana Prabhanu Lilyotahi Madhuraphala Janu. So we always try to consume easy, pleasant, wonderful things. We don't want to do the tough things. Then you will dim your intellect and your wisdom and your soul knowledge, self-knowledge. Next comes this. This actually is I think the kingpin of it all. Prabhu Mudrika Meli Mukhamahi Jaladhi Langi Gai Acharachanahi. I mean, think about it. Such a big, huge Hanumanji and properly clothed and Gada and Dhwaja and all. Why would he put the ring in his mouth? Here he's eating the sun with his mouth. He's putting the ring in his mouth. And I kept thinking mouth. Because our speech, the whole world is created with Vag, Vach. What we speak is what we create. If you speak words of ignorance and darkness, you will lose your power. And what did he put in his mouth? The ring of Ram, that is hope. The minute you have few words of hope coming out of your mouth, you can jump that ocean of suffering and pain and limitedness, and you can go and give hope to your material physical body. You can rescue your physical material existence by words of hope. Hope again is what? Shri. Prosperity. So, Prabhu Mudrika Meli Mukhamahi. Prabhu is what? You keep telling yourself that there is a Ram inside me. There is that Ram Tattva. I can do it. I can do it. Words of this thing. Imagine, I would like to, why would it, 1 second, test. Yeah, so that's what it is. Durgama Kaja Jagat ke jete, Sugama Anugraha Tumari tete. Durgama Kaja is all our bad karma. Jagata is our body. Jo gati karta hai, usko Jagat bolte hain. So our body is constantly moving, changing. All this karma is changing. And remember the kleshas and the vikaras, these vikaras. So with all these vikaras and kleshas, we are creating bad karma. Durgama Kaja Jagat ke jete, Sugama, you're inviting with good work, Anugraha Tumari tete. With the grace of Ram and with your effort, you are getting, you can change your karma. Defined by Sugama. Yeah. So basically, when you are trying to improve, you have to ask yourself, am I going to be bound by my memories of limitedness or my vision of unlimitedness? You have a choice to live in your limited negative self, that always talk about those things, how limited you are, how difficult life is, how you don't have anything. Or you can visualize unlimitedness, that the scriptures have given me this. That is where that faith, that shraddha comes. So many people have achieved it, why can't I do it? And how do you do that? Through your mouth, words of hope. Rama duare tum rakhware, hot na agya binu paisare. Sorry, before that, I want to say, Sugama, the vision of the future instead of your memories of the past. You cannot go to the future with a biography of the past, with words of pity and blame and what should I say, excuses and complaining. You cannot go to the future with those words. Those words have to be left behind if you want to. And even Jesus said that you cannot come to my land the way you are right now. You have to change those words. That is why this thing that he took the ring in his mouth. I mean, didn't he have a pocket? He could have hold so many things. You can't hold a ring. Ram dware tumara khware, hot na agya binu paisa. Ram is what? That your true self, your infinite, unchanging, powerful potential. No, you cannot access that without the permission of your controlled mind and a breath awareness. How do you experience Ram? Through meditation. How do you go to meditation? You control your mind and you, meaning you steady your mind and you control your breath. If you go to Vipassana, that's all there is, just breath control. And they all come back experiencing miracles. So Ram, to be able to access and experience that Ram Tattva inside you, you need permission of Hanuman, which is the mind control and breath control. Sab sukha lahi tumari sharana, tumar achhu ko kahu ko darana. So what is sukha? Sukha means when life goes according to your desire. There is no one definition of sukha. What is sukha for you is not sukha for me. But if my life goes according to how I want it, I am happy. And how do you get that sukha? Because you're not getting that sukha because of that vritti, that constant vikshepa, fluctuations of the mind. Your mind is controlling you. You are not controlling the mind. When you control the mind, you can make it do whatever you want. Mind is a powerful tool, but it is completely untethered right now, and it's ruling the roost right now. So, sabha sukha lahi tumhari sarana. When you surrender to your breath, and when you surrender to your mind, from the Keshari mind to the Pavana mind to the Shiva mind, tumhara rakshaka kahu ko darna. When your breath and your mind is protecting you, you don't need anybody else. Your mind is your worst enemy. Your mind is your best friend. So you have to spend time trying to become familiar and bring awareness to your breath, bring awareness to your thoughts and the fluctuations of the mind. Chitta vritti nirodha. In yoga, that's what they're saying. The first and last thing of yoga is that just steady these fluctuations of your mind, and you are in yoga with your higher self. Okay. Then is apana teja samharo ape tino loko hakta. Once you are able to control your mind and your mind doesn't control you, then your teja, your energy, your power, somehow you alone can control it. You will create whatever you want with that. Tinhu loko hakta. Tinhu loko, again, that body, mind and intellect, subconscious, conscious, superconscious. You are in control of that. Bhuta pisacha nikat nahi aave, Mahavira jab naam suna. What is Bhuta? In this day and age, if you tell a kid, if you read Hanuman Chalisa, Bhuta pisacha, then what? I mean, but think about the symbolism. Bhuta is what? A disembodied spirit. It is there, but you can't see it. What is that? Sometimes when we have amputate one of our arms, and many people say, I still feel the pain, like a ghost pain. Similarly, with desire, sensual pleasures, even when you remove yourself, I know that. When I stopped eating non-vegetarian food for a few months, I still desired that fish. I was never a big meat eater, but I did like my fish. That is called Bhuta desire. I can't see it, I don't eat it, but that thought is there. And pisacha is what? A vampire that drains energy. Thoughts that drain your energy. These two things will not bother you if Bhuta pisacha nikat nahi aave, Mahavira jab naam sunave. Again, Mahavira, you're talking about the 5 courage. You need those courage. When you are Ranavir, Dharamvir, Dayavir, Tyagvir, those 5 things, then you will be able to eliminate those ghost desires and those energy draining thoughts. भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे. So you're basically what you're when you do this Mahavira Naam, meaning you bring awareness to it, you are trying to roast the seed, because the seeds that are roasted cannot germinate. But if they're not, if they're in seed form, these bhuta desires are in seed form. The right opportunity, like that Voldemort in Harry Potter, he's in a seed form. He's not roasted yet. The right opportunity he gets into somebody's body. Similarly, you have to completely eliminate it, roast that desire, so it cannot germinate under any circumstance. Then nase roga hare sabapira japata nirantana hanumata pira. There's an interesting study I came across, which is very important. They say in the first 18 years of our life, we hear, no, you cannot do this. It is not possible. This is not for you. Who do you think? This 148,000 times. And in the same time, you can do this. You are capable of doing this only a few hundred times. And the same study said that 75% of our thoughts are negative, limiting, what we cannot do, cannot achieve, don't deserve, not entitled to, can never happen. And another study said 75% of our illnesses are due to our mental thoughts, what we believe about ourselves. 75%. Many researches have been done, and I've talked several times about that John Sarno in New York University. So imagine if 75% of your illness is caused by your limited negative beliefs. I cannot do this, I cannot have that, I am not capable of this, I don't have the right parents, right country, right mind, right body, right education, right support, right, all the things you cannot do and don't have. 75% of the time our thought is stuck on that. Imagine if we had, here I read something beautifully. Can you imagine what tasks you might accomplish more easily, what problems you would overcome, and what goals you could reach if you had an extra helping of self-confidence, and double the amount of determination, and twice the amount of belief in the outcome? So if you have self-confidence, determination, and faith in the outcome, what you could achieve. So nase roga, the minute you change your negative mindset, all the things you cannot do, or limited negative thoughts, roga will not come to you. Half your diseases are psychosomatic anyways. They will vanish just by changing your perspective and thought process. Nase roga hare sabapira. This pida is the suffering. In Buddhism, they call it 2 arrows. First arrow comes and hits you, it pains. Second arrow is thinking about it. Why, when, who, why me, why not? That will go, because your mind, you will switch from that monkey mind, from that lower negative mind, conditioned mind, to elevated thoughts, clear, elevated emotions, and clarity of thought. So nase roga hare sapira japata nirantara hanumata. It's not talking about Hanuman here. Man is pride. This is mind. Mind control will take away half your diseases. Nase roga hare sapira japata nirantara hanumata balabira. Japata nirantara mane, you can't just have these thoughts, positive thoughts, once in a while. Nirantara, constantly, 148,000 times you have to unlearn those negative things you cannot do, cannot be, cannot have, to I can do, I can be, I can have. Nirantara, you have to think that. Your mind has to think those 3 things: can do, can have, can be, to eliminate all suffering and illness. Sankata te Hanuvana chudave, mana krama vachana dhyana julave. So you have to bring mana krama vachana. That is, we think one thing, do one thing, say one thing. These are all powerful. Thought is powerful, speech is powerful, action is powerful, but they're doing different things. It is like riding a chariot with horses pulling in different directions. Once you bring all the horses are brought into the reins, then what is that? Intention, attention, and action. They all have to be aligned. You can have anything you want. Once what you say and what you do and what you think are, you can say, oh, I want money, but inside you're thinking, no, it's not possible. I don't have that platform. I didn't get that inheritance. I don't, they are misaligned. You cannot have anything. So mana krama vrachana, your thought, your actions, and your speech, if you are dedicated to getting what you want, there is no doubt you will get that. Sankata te Hanuman, any problem you have, once you bring your mind, your speech, and your action to working on it, it will vanish. Manakrama vachana dhyana julave. Dhyana is, of course, bringing mindfulness to your speech, thought, and action. Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja, Tinoke Kaja, Sakalatuma Saja. Now again, that Tapasvi thing, controlling the three. The ideal is everything is possible. Everything is possible if you are if you have that tapasya bhava, that austerity to work towards it. It doesn't come easily. That vira, you have to fight for it. So you have to have that, and this is the difference between the yogi and the bhogi. Yogi controls food, ahara, vihara, maithuna, and nidra. You have to have control over your sleep, over your sexual activities, over your food, and over your entertainment. That is a yogi. And a bhogi is giving into everything. I want to sleep so much. I want to eat this. I want to have that. I want to entertain myself. Then when you do that kind of tapasya, then you can have that Rama Tattva. Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja. Ram was a tapasvi. And Tinoke Kaja Sakalatumsa. When you have that yogi mentality, you can control and master and conquer and do whatever you want with your body, mind, and intellect. Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja. Tina. Again, 3 Ke Kaja Sakalatumasa. You can take care of all your body, mind, and intellect. Or manoratha jo koi laye, soi amita jivana phala pave. Mind is, manoratha is intention. You have to work towards something, because our mind is all monkey mind, wants to do everything. We don't have that kind of control yet. You have to harness that mind. All these horses are going everywhere. You harness it, then that chariot can go, your body can go, your mind can go, and several. We talk about Rath Yatra, we talk about Kathopanishad, the Ratha thing, the horses, the reins, the person who's controlled, the charioteer, and the owner of the chariot. All that can be done when you are bringing that, harnessing that mind. Mind is potential energy. It can do whatever you want. If you leave it untrained, it will create havoc, which is what is happening in our life. So you will have to bring manoratha jo koi laye, soi amita. Amita is limitless. Jivana phala pave. Anything you want, you can do if you have control over your mind. And it starts with setting good goals and being motivated. Motivation is what? Putting into motion. Those goals you have to put into motion. Okay, your internal, and that manoratha, you have to understand that you have that Ram Tattva inside you. That is your coach. That will motivate you. That will help you set the right goals and work towards the right goal. Chara juga paratap tumhara hai parasiddhi jagatu ajayara. In the beginning, I told you that, everywhere you read, they'll tell you that Hanuman was a Chiranjeevi in all the yugas. Treta Yuga, Satyug, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. Hanuman was there. What is Hanuman? This mind, this consciousness, it will be there in every yuga. But in the modern world, can we tell our children that if you read Hanuman Chalisa, you will live in all 4 yugas? Who will listen to you? The 4 yugas they are talking about here is inside us. We have the states of consciousness. We have a waking state, we have a dream state, we have a deep sleep state, and we have a Turiya state, which is beyond that Akashic record, which is when we go to the collective unconscious. Once you have control over your mind and your mental abilities and your breath, your prana, you can consciously, like all these yogis, munis, rishis, they can go through all these states. We have no control what we do when we fall asleep. And in a dream state, we have no control over ourselves. But yogis who have done tapasya, who have controlled and harnessed their breath and their mind, they can seamlessly travel from waking to dream to sleep to Turiya state and back. And many people, I never understood what dream. I used to think, how can your consciousness be aware in the deep sleep state? Because for anything to be annihilated, you have to be a witness. When you are dying, you cannot be a witness to your death, because you are not coming back in that form. Whereas in deep sleep, you are losing your identity, but you're coming back and you say, I had a deep sleep. You are reclaiming your memories. And so waking, dreaming, deep sleep, you have control. These, you become a Chiranjeevi. That's what it's saying. Chara Juga, these 4 states. Paratap tumhara, you can have your glory in all 4 states. You can easily travel these 4 states, Hai parasiddhi jagat ujara. You can illumine all four of these states if you have that level of mind control and breath control. And those who have gone to Vipassana can testify, and those who done great tapasya can testify. They can go to any state and come back, and at will. Then because beyond the mind, at the deepest level of our consciousness, we have that Ram Tattva, that eternal, infinite, powerful being. And once you access that and become one with that, you can do anything with any of the four states. Sadhu Santa ke tuma rakhware, asura nikandana Ram dulare. Sadhu Santa is our good thoughts, our positive thoughts, our thoughts of detachment, thoughts of spiritual growth, thoughts, those you have to protect. You know, that dhwaja and that vajra leke, you have to protect those thoughts, good thoughts in you, good thoughts of spiritual practice, detachment, vairagya, viveka. These are the thoughts you have to invest more time in and protect. Tiny hope it will come, you have to protect and make it grow. At the same time, you have to completely annihilate asuric tendencies. So, sadhu santa ke tuma rakhware. Tuma is who? The mind, a harnessed mind and breath under control can enhance and grow and expand these sattvic thoughts and tendencies, sadhu and santa, and at the same time can completely vanquish our asuric tendencies. You know, uncontrolled desire is asuric tendencies. When we do that, you become Ram Dulare. Dulare is what? It's you're an apple of Ram's eye, that your body and your mind can be taken care of and protected once you harness your mind and control your breath. And how do you do that? Because when we start doing all these meditative practices to bring the unsteady mind into meditative practices, what happens? It is what is in that Samudra Manthan. That is the whole idea of meditation. First and foremost, only the halahala will come out, the poison and asuric tendencies. You have to be immediately get into the Shiva state. Who drank that poison? Halahal? Shiva drank it. Who is Shiva? Controlled mind. So you should be able to take away those poison. When you sit in meditation, horrible thoughts will come. You cannot get scared. You have to immediately vanquish it. And the good things that came out of that Samudra Manthan, you know, Amrita and Shri and Dhanvantri, all those things, that you'll have to take and protect and keep it to yourself. And this meditation process is basically what? It means monitor, edit, and listen. When you monitor, you just bring mindfulness. You close your eyes and you just bring mindfulness, awareness to your thoughts. That's all there is to meditation. Then after the meditation, you edit the thoughts that were coming out. When you spend a lot of time trying to look at your thoughts, you will be able to see the good thoughts, the sadhu santa and the asuric thoughts, the uncontrolled negative desires. And then you edit it with your mouth. You use affirmations to that I talked about Sukshma Rupa, little ray of hope you will find, but you will concentrate on that ray of hope and you will continuously nirantara, japata nirantara, all I can do it, I can have this, I can be this, like rise high. So japata nirantana, and then you have to listen in the background and within yourself, constantly listening to what you're saying. We say we want this and want to be this and all, but we say exactly opposite things. So you have to constantly listen to what your speech is doing. Speech is how you create. The whole world was created when speech. Sadhu Santa ke tuma rakhware, asura nikandana Ram dulare. Astra Siddhi Navanidhi ke data, Asavaradina Janaki Mata. When you have such control over your prana and your mind, you can have siddhis. The Janaki Mata, your body will yield to you. It can become big, small. I mean, in so many yogic practices, people have shown what all you can do. And you have 9 treasures of love and pride and, name, fame, power. All this can be yours. Your body will manifest these things because you have controlled your mind and your breath. But understand, only a siddha can grant to somebody else. Siddhi is the process of becoming a master. Siddha is when you have become a master. When you are practicing siddhi, you cannot give it to anybody else. Only when you have mastered certain thing can you give to somebody. So Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi ke data Asavaradina Janaki Mata. So your body has given this, has this understanding with the mind and breath that if you are under control, I will do whatever you want me to do. You can pretty much make me do anything. Only then Ram Rasayana Tumhari Pasa Sada Raho Raghupati. Ram Rasayana is that Ram Tattva, that whole concept beyond the mind. You have to understand that that being that we are, that spiritual being that we are, is unlimited, infinite, powerful. and it's a potential that we have to reach it though. It requires Ram Rasayana is Ram Tattva, Tumhari Pasa. Only Hanuman has it. A controlled mind and a controlled prana has access to that Ram Tattva. Sada Raho Raghupati ke Dasa. You can serve that eternal Ram inside you once you control these two things. Then Tumhari Bhajana Rama ko pave, Janama Janama ke dukha basirave. Bhajana, again, same thing. Repetition is the key. Neuroplasticity, if you go to any NLP practitioner, they will tell you that anything that you want has to be repeated again and again. And that is what I was telling you about that study I read. 148,000 times we are told what you cannot do, what you cannot do, what you cannot have, what you cannot be. Instead of that, you have to bhajan karna padega. Ramta, I want to be devoted. This devotion to self-knowledge. I want that self-knowledge, that self-realization. Constantly, if you remind yourself, no, this is what I want. This is what I want. I can do it. Only then you will have it. Tumhara bhajana Rama ko pave. Janama janama ke dukha basirave. Janama janama is all these, from lifetimes. This karma, bad karma comes from lifetime. And what is the karma? Vasanas. These are all thought process. When we die, the body doesn't go to different lifetimes. It's this vasana, this packet of thoughts, emotions, awareness, feelings. They become a little DNA packet and they go with you to every lifetime thereafter. So by constantly reminding yourself and working towards that Ram Bhajan, Bhajan is again and again and again and again, Ram Tattva, you can eliminate these negative and limiting thoughts. Tumhari Bhajana Rama ko pave, Janama Janama ke dukha basirave. And Tumhari Bhajana is what? Constantly reminding yourself of your breath control, mind control, breath control, mind control. And awareness. Control is what? Bringing awareness. That's the only way you can control it. Anta Kala Raghupati Pura Jahi, Jaha Janma Hari Bhakta Kai. Same thing. This vasanas, and this is, I couldn't find a simpler way to explain to today's generation how that, whatever you do today in this lifetime, it may not be enough to completely experience.
If you want mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health.
Sorry. So then it is a cumulative experience. Whatever you have right now, it will go to your next life and the next life and the next life. So that's what he's saying. Anta Kala Raghubara Pura Jahi, Jaha Janma Hari Bhakta Kahi. Next lifetime you will start. Today you are doing this and interested in this, not because of this lifetime. Many lifetimes you have worked on it to come to this stage, and I have worked on it to come to this stage. Sankata Kate Mite Pira Jo Sumire Hanu Matta Balabira. Okay. Whenever there is any trouble and any Kate Mite Pira, when we are focused on a pain or trouble, if it's a physical pain, take it to the mental level. You will not be aware of the physical pain. If it's a mental pain, take it to the intellectual level. You will not be aware of the mental pain. If it's an intellectual pain, the Viveka, what to do, what not to do, you take it to the spiritual level, which is surrendering to that Rama Tattva. So that's what he's saying. Sankata Kate Mite Pira. Jo Sumire Hanu Matta Balabira. That mind has to be in control, and your courage. You have to have the courage to go from your physical body, Annamaya Kosha, to your Pranamaya Kosha, to your Manomaya Kosha, to your Vijnanamaya Kosha, and to your Anandamaya Kosha. In that direction, if your thought process and your mind and your feeling goes, you will be leaving lower and lower levels of pain and trouble, and taking your mind to higher and higher levels. Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai Kripa Karha Guru Devaki Nahi. So Jai Jai Jai. Again I said, Jai is what? Victory over yourself. Why 3 times? Once we said in the beginning, na? Jai Jai Jai. Victory over your body, instinctual feelings. Jai, victory over your mind, and victory over your thoughts. So 3 types of victory you have to, 3 types of control you have to have. Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai. And Kripa Karha Guru Devaki Nahi. So Gosai, this, there's we're talking about Go is a reference to cow, and Sai is like a guru. So it's almost, this was my way of understanding that Krishna is a guru. And then there's this in the Bhagavata, there is a story when Krishna decided to leave Gokula and leave for Dwarka. He had 2 best buddies, Uddhava and that other guy, I forget his name, whatever. Uddhava for everything, he used to come to Sudama and Uddhava. So Uddhava, for every day, he would run to Krishna and ask him, what should I eat? What should I wear? Where should I go? What should I do? And he ran to Krishna when he heard that he's going to Dwarka and cried. He said, what will I do? What will I do? I don't, who will tell me what to do? And Krishna said, your mind is your guru. You don't need me. He said, how can you say that? So Krishna said, let's do an experiment. Tomorrow, before you ask me, you ask your mind. And you come and check whatever answer your mind gives you with me. And accordingly, Uddhava realized whatever his mind told him, Krishna was repeating the same. So that is what we are saying. Our mind is our guru. In the beginning, we said, Shri Guru Charana. We want to be. If you don't want any other guru out there, you don't have or don't want, your mind can be your best guru. So Kripa Karaho Guru Devaknai. So your mind becomes your guru. Okay, and it comes and gives you the answers that you're looking for. Jo Satabara Paat Kara Koi Chhute Bandi Masuka. Again, Satabara is not 108 times. We wrongly think. I mean, you can do 108 times, 200 times, 1000 times, doesn't matter. It means repetition. Any of these things cannot be done singularly, like 100 times as opposed to 1,000 times we think negative thoughts, and 100 times we will read Hanuman Chalisa. How is it going to make a difference? It will, but minuscule. The differences will be so small, you won't really have belief in it. So they're saying Satabaraman is repeatedly read this with this meaning. Go through every word. You can do 108 times, but every word, don't breeze through like a express train through Hanuman Chalisa and said, I've done 108 times. It has no meaning. You have gone through, you are past the stage of Shravana. Now you're in the state of Nididhyasa, Manana, where you have to mull over it. What does it mean? And then you also have to go to Nididhyasa, where you have to practice. One of the things they're asking here, pick any one thing that has been told here and practice it. Jo satabara paat kar koi chhute bandi mahasukha hoy. Jo ye padhe Hanuman Chalisa hoy siddhi sakhi gaurisa. Okay, Hanuman Chalisa man, once you are realizing what these things are doing it, and they're asking you, controlling your pride, controlling your mind, controlling your ego, all that thing, you become siddhi. You start getting mastery as what? As a sakshi, as an observer, as the witness. You will witness inside yourself that Ram Tattva. And how you will become that? And that witness will go to the level of being Shiva. What Shiva's whole concept is what? He is a yogi, dhyan. He is a sakshi. So that is the goal here. Hoye siddhi sakhi gaurisa. That when you do this Hanuman Chalisa, again and again you read and you start practicing little by little, you will start on the path of mastering your witness self, your observer self, to the point. The goal is who? Shiva. We are not Shiva now, and we may not become, but we may become. Why should we say we cannot become? That is our goal. Where we land up, that let's leave that to Shiva and to Ram. But the effort is to become that, because only when you become a sakshi, siddha as a sakshi like Shiva, can you remove the fluctuations of the mind, which is the kleshas and vikaras we talked in the beginning. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. What is that? Ignorance. Then asmita is ego, raga, dvesha is craving and aversion, and fear of death. And the vikaras are kama, krodha, moha, lobha, moha, matsarya, mada, matsarya. So these things, you just witness it. Sit down and see when your desires. And see when you don't get your desire, how angry you get. When you have something, your pride, mother. When you don't have it, matsarya, you're envious. Just be aware of those things. And don't tell yourself, oh, you shouldn't do this, can't do this, have to. These are the asuric tendencies. They have to come, and then you let it go. Tulasidasa Sadahari Chera Kije Natha Hrudaya Mahadera. So this is again, the whole thing is Hrudaya Mahadera, that devotion, that Hanuman is the concept of devotion to self-knowledge, Ram, where? In the heart, not in the mind. Mind is this mananam. But the Nididhyasa has to be there. You have to experience this Ram Tattva, Shiva, Ram, Lakshmana and Sita in your heart, Anahata Chakra. It is not, you cannot, when you are having this self-knowledge is not here. This is not who you are. This is who you are. When you say I, Anahata Chakra. So that is why he said, Hridaya Mahadera, you stay here. Everything, this information, this archetypes, this goal has to be in your heart. Tulasi Dasa Sadahari Chera Kije Natha Hridaya Mahadera Pavana. Again I will say this thing. devotion. This from the, I'm quoting from the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Devotion, which is Hanuman, to self-knowledge, which is Ram. There is no knowledge of the self to the unsteady. And to the unsteady, no meditation. And to the unmeditative, no peace. And to the peaceless, how can there be happiness? So that is what it's saying, that you have to, fluctuations of the mind, unsteadiness of the mind, you have to try to get control over it through meditation. When you're able to do that, you will find peace. And when you have peace, you will know that only then can you experience that eternal happiness, that ananda we're talking about, that bliss consciousness. Pavana Tanaya Sankata Harana Mangala Murati Rupa Rama Lakshmana Sita Saita Hridaya Baso Surabhupa. The same thing. How much time do we have? 20 minutes. Okay, this is a beautiful way in Hanuman, the character of Hanuman, the archetype of Hanuman, he combines all the elements, the Panchabhuta, because there's I think Kambha Ramayana or somewhere I read, all the 5 elements are brought into, are used by Hanuman to deliver what he, to be so successful. So it talks about how Hanumanji, master of the 5 elements. He, the son of one of the elements, Vayu, he's the son of Vayu, air element, crossed one of the 5 elements, Sagara, which is the water element, through another element, the sky element, which is space element, and met the daughter of another element, which is earth element, Sita, and then burnt down Lanka by another element, the fire. So we can take all these elements and use it. You know, that Bhuta Shruti that Sadhguru always talks about, it may be easier said than done, but only if you want intention, attention, and action. Sort of the zillion thoughts, if you set a goal, Manoratha Jo Koi Lai, So Amita Jivana, you have to bring that Manoratha, you have to set a goal. That I want to understand this, I want to become like this, I want to move in this direction. Otherwise, you can just sit and read Hanuman Chalisa 108 times and you will get, just by mindlessly reading also, you will get some energy. But when you understand and read, the power is something else. Okay, I wanted to tell you why, many places in my research, I figured that they said if you put an image of Panchamukhi Hanuman in your doorway, you are completely protected. Because I was looking for this during this pandemic, what, puja, mantra, what we can do to help. And everywhere it came up, Panchamukhi. And in fact, I started on this Panchamukhi thing because Arundhati sent me one mantra, the Panchamukhi Kavacha, and that got me thinking about it. And my research, this is what I found out, that at the entrance of your door, if you put a Panchamukhi Hanuman, nothing will ever, you will be totally protected. And I thought about it, that since we are doing symbolic meaning, literally, of course, we can do all those things. That is the Shudra level of prayer. Just do it. Somebody's asked you, do it. You don't try to make any effort to understand why they said that. And the story about Panchamukhi thing is, when Ravana was losing and he knew there was no hope at all, what he did is he told his brother Ahiravana that you have to somehow, who lived in the Patala, that you have to take Ram and Lakshman there and kill them there. And again, think about it. Ahi is snake, desire, and Ahiravana and Patala, meaning your subconscious desires, you're not even aware of it. Vibhishana knew about this, came and told Hanuman, beware, this is what Ram's plan is. He's going to ask Ahiravana, and Ahiravana, you can't even tell, nobody has seen him and he can come and take. So Hanumanji protected Ram and Lakshman for many days, but what happened, for a long period of time, but Ahiravana came as Vibhishana, and even Hanumanji could not recognize him, and he came and took Ram Lakshman and took him into the Patala, into the subconscious, while they were sleeping and dark. These are not details you can forget. Sleeping, when you're unconscious, when your mind awareness is not working, dark, under ignorance, anybody can do this. There will be moments, no matter what we do, where our awareness is asleep and we are in the darkness. We don't have the wisdom. What happens? Our spirit and our awareness gets kidnapped into the netherworlds, into our subconscious. And when Hanumanji went there to fight, he realized, he was told that there are 5 areas where Ahiravana's power is, and you have to, there are lamps in 5 areas, you have to blow it at the same time. One by one you can't blow. And that's when he took on the Panchamukhi avatara, and he blew out all the 5 flames, and he recovered Ram and Lakshman and brought him. And what are these 5 forms? The front facing one is Hanuman, and then on the left is Varaha, on the right is east and west they have, I don't recall exactly, so I will not go there. So one mukha is Hanuman, next one mukha is, second one is Varaha, third is Narasimha, in the back is Garuda, and on top is Hayagriva. And they said, so what are these avatars? 2 of them are actually, 3 of them are avatars of Vishnu. Varaha is an avatar of Vishnu, Narasimha is an avatar of Vishnu, Hayagriva is an avatar of Vishnu. Garuda is, and Hanuman serve Vishnu. Hanuman is a devotee, but Garuda is his Vahana. Now, what do these avatars, why did Vishnu take these avatars? The Varaha avatara, I don't know how much time I have. I mean, we can go into another 1 hour of this, but I'll try to briefly. Varaha avatar is when during the yugas, the Asuric tendencies have always, there's been a fight between the Suras and Asuras, the Devatas and the Rakshasas. And this is the whole thing. Inside us also, we have Asuric tendencies and Deva tendencies, light, what should I say, lighted beings. Sattvic tendencies and good tendencies. There's always a fight. Sometimes mostly the Devatas win, sometimes the Asuric win. The tendencies are too strong. And this earth was sinking. So Vishnu, and who was sinking the earth? Hiranyaksha. And who saved the earth? Vishnu came in the form of a Varaha. Now, Varaha is like a wild boar, and the earth is our karma place, where we can act. People even from Devata Loks, they come to earth, Bhuloka, to actually experience life. So when earth is sinking, significance is that we are not able to access our soul purpose. Where do we enact our karma, and where that thing is sinking? The Varaha, the wild boar, what does a boar do? Its snort uses its snout to go through this dirt and everything and take out food to eat. The same way, we have to use our ability to go into our subconscious, where all our desires and everything have sunk, and our ability to actually work on our karma has sunk in. We are not doing anything about it. We have to use that Varaha avatara to pull out earth from there, to pull out our purpose, to pull out the area, the field of our activities where we can actually do that, to actually rise to Swargaloka. So that to bring it, how do I explain this? Vara also is Vara is desire. You're constantly wanting desire in the outside world, but you have to actually go inside to find out the negative desires and kill it to be able to actually rise. So when you look at the Varaha Avatara, you have to remind yourself that I have to dig inside and find out what are those negative things that are sinking my earth, my life purpose. Then is the Narasimha Avatar. Narasimha Avatar was taken to kill Hiranyakashipu, who is the brother of Hiranyaksha. And these, Hiranyakashipu, what was his thing? Ego. He was arrogant. He did not want to believe in the that Ram Tattva, that there is this infinite energy or God or Ram, whatever you call it. And he so that was the ego. He wanted to, he was very arrogant. He had very strong ego. He wanted to possess everything. He wanted to be I, me, and myself, and terrorize everybody else who did not believe that. So that represents your ego. And then you have the Garuda Avatara, which is, Garuda is eagle. In many of the countries' flags, you will see snake and eagle. Snake is the lower tendencies, and the eagle is always coming and attacking the snake. It gives you the power to rise above from your material. And, eagles, they fly very high and alone. They are never in a group of birds, always alone. So a spiritual pursuit is by yourself, and the tendency is always to rise. You have to want to rise from that, the snake, the desire, the trap, the poison of the snake. So you have Varaha, which is like, not go outside, go inside yourself to find out what it is that you have to destroy, the Hiranyaksha inside you. Then when you destroy that, you come up with this ego, that the worst of them, of all the things that go, the most difficult to fight and conquer is ego. That is Hiranyakashipu. Once you destroy that with Narasimha, then the Garuda is behind, is that desire to break free, that we say moksha, going towards moksha, the liberation. So break free from the bondage of instinctual living, this animal instinct. And then is at the top is Hayagriva. Hayagriva, again Vishnu took avatara when two demons, two asuras, Madhu and Kaitava. Madhu is the tamasic tendency inside us, lethargy, inertia, and Kaitava is the rajasic tendency. He stole the Vedas, they stole the Vedas and they ran away somewhere. And Vishnu had to come in the Hayagriva, the horse head and the body of a human, to rescue the Vedas. So you need to fight your internal, you have to first go inside. That we're talking about meditation. That is the Varaha Avatar is telling you, go inside, find out what are your negative tendencies. After eliminating everything, there will be one big negative tendency, that is Hiranyakashipu, your ego. After you fight that you need to look at your Garuda, this thing, and say, how will I break free from this bondage of this lower instinct, lower self? And then what can give you that freedom, that Atmagyan? It is Hayagriva, that knowledge of the Vedas, of self-knowledge. So every time, and a griha, when we say keep your Panchamukhi Hanuman in the front of your house, griham is our body, our mind. What is a house? A house is you go out, gather everything and bring it into a house and keep it inside you. Similarly, our body and mind, we gather so many things, thoughts and emotions and feelings from outside and put it inside us. That is our griham. So in front of your mind, in front of your own body and mind, if you always have Hanumana, Panchamukhi Hanumana, and say that, okay, I need to go inside, Varaha Avatar. I need to go on a search and what's that word? Destroy mission. Then you destroy who you become. Then from the Varaha Avatara, you take your attention to the Narasimha Avatara, the ego. Constantly becoming aware of the ego, because it's the most difficult to fight. Everything else, fear, guilt, you can. And then Garuda Avatara. I have to have the desire to break free from the bondages of material, physical life, lower life. Like an eagle, have to soar high. And soar high and do what? For self-knowledge, that is Hayagriva. And to start it all is Hanuman. That mind control, breath control. Only with mind control, breath control can you go inside, can you fight your Hiranyakashipu, can you break free from this limited and negative self and lower self, and move towards Hayagriva, which is the Vedas, the knowledge of self-realization. And so once you can put it, definitely do that. I think it helps us all. It reminds us, and at your entrance, put a picture or a murti of Panchamukhi Hanuman, but in yourself, every morning and night. Why do they say front door? Every time you leave, every time you come back, you look at Panchamukhi Hanuman. Same thing with yourself. When you wake up, when you sleep, bring to your mind the Panchamukhi Hanuman. I have to control my mind. I have to control my breath awareness. I have to go inward. I have to have some time to do that Varaha Avatara, what Vishnu did. I have to do myself. Go internal, go dive in and look at what it is that is holding me. Then I have to kill and destroy my pride and ego like Hiranyakashipu. Then I have to break free and rise. These are all intention, attention and focus. And how will I rise? With the Vedas, with the knowledge, Atma Vidya, that is Atma Gyan. And that is Hayagriva. So once you have that, nothing can, you are always protected and nothing can attack you and nothing can bring you down. So if you have any questions, this is the end. I can